Hi guys, thank you so much for having us. It is my absolute pleasure to introduce you to a little bit of my journey in the research environment. I would like to talk about a few key points that could be useful for your PhD or research career. It's a very short presentation, but I will try to keep it as spicy as possible. So, why are you embarking on a research journey? In my particular experience, I had a combination of all these factors, but there was one single factor that was much more relevant than all these. And that factor starts with the letter P for passion. I was extremely passionate about this new chapter of my life. I was going, like millions of people, going through a little bit of a rough patch. Not the age blues, but I was already nearing 40 years of age. I had already worked in the industry for a number of years. I was a very old bachelor's student, and then I completed my MBA. And then I went to work. So I will show you that on the next slide. So here are a few of those factors that I was referring to before. Passion being probably the most important, without any, not possibly, but without any shred of doubt. And that counted for me as a key stimulating element that carried me through all those 3 years of PhD thesis. So, are you interested in the topic? Are you curious? Are you inquisitive? And being inquisitive is one of those ingredients that help people to carry on through their student or professional career. Are you pressured? Are you under pressure to publish? Are your line managers asking you that you need to be more engaged in research? Are you interested in publishing before you complete your PhD or master's thesis? Are you still undecided of what to do? And this is also quite common among PhD candidates. They still don't know really what they want to do with their PhD degree. They are there, they already started, and then they change their minds, or they have different pressures, different needs. They get married, they have kids. I mean, perhaps they get an offer conditional of completing the PhD, so a job opportunity. So there are really many different reasons why people are embarking on this very long journey. So in my particular case, I worked for many years in Switzerland. I was involved so I had the hands-on industry experience. And then I went to the United States and I completed my bachelor's degree and my MBA degree. Life took me to Japan, and then after 2 years, I decided to go back to university because I thought that at that age, if I did not make the move, I will never have the chance to complete a PhD degree. So I was very passionate. I had cruised through my bachelor's degree, earning high distinctions or almost a clean 4-point grade point average, so GPA, and then I completed my MBA, also scoring high marks and ending up on a high note. After that, as I said, I moved to Japan, and then I applied for a couple of universities in New Zealand, and I had an opening at a very small university in New Zealand called Lincoln University. So that university opened the door. It's quite close to Christchurch. And at that time, the wine industry coincidentally was picking up in Switzerland. So one of my supervisors suggested, again, I was taking some filling courses, some like a bridge, so they call it bridge courses, moving into the PhD degree. And I met one of my lecturers in one of my courses, business management, postgraduate, and we started chatting, and then eventually this chatting became more serious in the sense that he wanted to supervise a PhD candidate, and I wanted to complete a PhD degree. So he mentioned wine, and when I was a kid, I grew up in a neighborhood where there were wineries, and wine was always kind of near my residence, so be it as a kid or as a teenager. So I gave it a thought, and then I decided to embark on this PhD degree using the wine industry as the industry, the field, the environment, the setting that I wanted to be involved in. At that time, I was already proficient in using Excel spreadsheets and so forth, but even as a student, as a bachelor's degree student back in the 90s, I remember calculating the fees and the money that I had, because I was self-funding my university degree. So I use spreadsheets for a long time. And here the spreadsheets became very handy in providing me with the journey, with a visual journey of my degree. So I have like a little Gantt chart that I designed, and I will strongly recommend to any of you embarking on a PhD degree to utilize it. So the first year, as you can see, you start with a preliminary literature review, where you start learning aspects about the field that you want to enter. And then many candidates, I suppose, become bored, or they lose the interest at this very early stage. Or like myself, they become more and more inquisitive, more passionate, and they carry on. So after, typically, universities have like a 6-month gap, or a 6-month journey that PhD candidates need to go through. And usually, I will say, after 6 months, you are due to present your proposal. In my case, I did it, I think, a little bit earlier, because I was going full time and really going at a very intensive and consistent pace. So I presented my proposal, and then off I went to continue the other parts, writing the introduction, etc. And at this point, as you can see, there are a lot of overlaps. So you're finishing one part, and you become involved in another. You are preparing also your ethics application to gain ethics approval to conduct your research, and then other aspects come into play. Obviously, many candidates like myself, you have to juggle with other responsibilities, be it private life, part-time job, sometimes even full-time job. The second year follow a very similar journey, or similar patterns, in the sense that you're developing other aspects, other areas of your thesis, and you have to do them on a timely manner. In the meantime, again, you're working, you're marking assignments, or invigilating tests, final exams, you name it, to make some money and fund your PhD. And obviously, you have to juggle all those responsibilities, all those tasks. Now, many PhD candidates make fatal errors while they are conducting their PhD. And I have to say that I'm a little bit guilty as charged. I had the misfortune that my supervisors did not have publication experience. They might have published maybe a case study, or maybe a book chapter, maybe a conference paper or article, but they were not fully engaged in research. So if you are going to publish anything before you finish your thesis, make 150% that it is a peer-reviewed, I forgot to type the peer-reviewed words here, a peer-reviewed research article. Unfortunately, book chapters and conference articles, they might count if the event is very popular, Academy of Management, or other very, very high-end events or conferences, but typically they will be just average conferences where you have to even pay to attend. I believe you have to also pay to attend the Academy of Management, but it is a much more reputable event. So I will avoid writing conference articles. I will avoid writing book chapters. And I have to say, very prominent academics have advised me against these two. And one of them is actually working at a very prestigious UK university, at the business school, which is world known. So he cannot be wrong if he advised me to avoid writing book chapters. So make sure the supervising team has experience, because publishing or perishing is something that you probably heard, publish or perish in the academic environment. You have to publish to demonstrate that you have currency with research, you have currency with world events, or with the area in which you are teaching and conducting research. So you need to demonstrate currency, skills, and that you are not falling behind in terms of contemporary research, contemporary ideas, concepts, models, and so forth. And this is the illustration of the last year of the thesis, where, as you can see, I am completing the discussion. So I went through the analysis. Each and every one of these steps really merits a video on its own. And probably you can find some of those videos on YouTube as well from other authors. I would like to actually do that in the future, to provide different chapters of the different chapters of the thesis. So in conclusion, which is two words that I don't like to write when I'm writing a conclusion, but to summarize what I just said, the passion is what will carry you through the 3 or 4 years of your thesis, or if you are doing it part-time, even more. So the passion that you have in yourself will provide you with the energy, the intensity, the consistency, the discipline to carry on through the different chapters, to the different stages of your PhD thesis. Finding the right supervisors, of course, sometimes takes time. Ideally, try to take classes with these individuals before, or at least visit their classes, look at their profile. Do not waste time on unproductive matters, which is, again, the writing a book chapter when with the same time and energy, you could write at least an article which is a B in the Australian Business Dean's Council, the ABDC, or in a Q1 in the Shimago rankings. Manage your time. So look at that Gantt chart that I showed you before, the 3 pieces, and consider them as a model for your thesis, whereby each month you have a task, or perhaps one task takes a few months. This is also very critical, and I think it also merits a chapter on its own, a video on its own. Managing your loneliness. You are the only person writing that thesis. If you are, which I think should be the case, and you will go through a lot of times where you experience loneliness. People don't understand you because no one is as involved, as engaged in the research as you are, in the thesis, in the topic, in that setting as you are. So do it right. Do not ask for extra help. Do not cut corners. Do not, obviously, engage in academic misconduct. And talking to people, to your girlfriend, boyfriend, partner, etc., helps a lot, because the emotions, sometimes people go through emotional roller coasters. They have ups and downs. One day the supervisor is happy, another day the supervisor is unhappy. One day you get it, another day you don't get it, you are confused, and you might be frustrated with yourself and with people around you. So talking about it is important. And also, do not burn out. Do not overdo it to the point where you start experiencing burnout, the mental exhaustion. So these are basically a few steps, I think, into the right direction when you are completing a thesis. So thank you for your time once again, and this concludes my presentation. I will see you around in another video. Bye for now.